start with the groundhog. So the first fly that came to my mind was a fly called the llama. Now, why it's called that, I have no idea. But it's spelled as the animal, L-L-A-M. Okay. Okay. So, llama. And Eric Leiser is probably the most known proponent of the llama, but it wasn't his fly. And why it came to be known by him was he came out with a book or two back in the early and these or so about how to cure your own, how to catch, how to skin, how to cure your own hides, and that became a small craze at that time, to the point that a friend of mine at that time stopped the car on an anniversary night of his, and in a three-piece suit, because him and his wife were going out to dinner, in a three-piece suit, scraped up a coon, and he threw it in the bag and threw it in the trunk in the car. They drove east into Burlington, and they went to dinner, wining and dining and dancing, and about 1 o'clock in the morning, they came out, climbed in the car, and had to drive home with the windows down because the stink was so bad, and he didn't get anything else that night. In fact, not for a few nights.
I gave him an excuse to tie a lot of flies.
And in fact, I think I still have a half of that hide somewhere at home. Not me, though. I wouldn't do that. Although I'm still mad at Len Yost because he wouldn't stop on the way down to the Catskills. There were dead deer lying like everywhere, and he wouldn't stop. He was scared stiff of the boys in the wide hats.
Elliott, that's only because you knew about your story about the moose hide.
Oh, the moose hide. No, I'm not going to tell all that. I'm not tying no moose flies here. Okay, so the tail. The llama is a streamer of sorts, tied on a 3x long hook. This is a number, a number 8, size 8. You tie them down to 4, down to 6, I should say. Anyway, that's it there. So it has a tail of grizzly hen and a body of red floss with tinsel, a wing of groundhog, woodchuck, a hackle of grizzly, a black head. You can paint the eyes on the head or not. It's your call. They're kind of a pain to do because you have to do the white, let the white dry, put the little black dot in the middle, let that dry, and then you coat the whole thing again with clear cement to harden it all up and shine up the whole head. So it's a pain in the neck, and I haven't found any peel and stick eyes that small. So anyway, how you tie in the tail. I've cleaned off all the crap on the base, all the fuzz. You pull out the fibers on the lower end so that it looks like that. It stands lower.
There you go.
Okay, so it stands out square off the quill. Okay, grab the tip by your thumb and your finger. You put the quill against your thumb. So I'm holding the whole length flat, holding them out square, and you pull. And everything then becomes square, which when you do that, then your tips are all lined up. You get that? If you do it like this, and you grab and you just tear a piece off, they're all stepped up. So that's how you do a hackle tail. Switching ends, forefinger and thumb, middle finger and thumb, turn it around, grab it by the butts. Now I've got the tips going towards the tail. About a hook gap or a little bit more in length. Okay, so it's sized up to length. Switch hands, over, tied on top to the bend. There you go. The insole, this one's number 14, uni. Gold on one side and silver on the other. So, if you've ever wondered which side you tie with. Now, this fly was invented by a North American native in Wisconsin, I believe. Somewhere back in the East. And apparently he had a little tying shop and a tackle store on the reserve. And all the white men that used to come up to fly fish would all stop at his store and he'd sell on them flies. Anyway, this fly he came up with, he got it from an old English book. I don't know if it was called the Llama then or where the name came from, but that's where. And it sort of died out until Izaak happened to cotton onto this.
So the whole thing is a dilemma.
Okay, so what I do.
What a crowd.
Didn't come.
Originally, it had a silver rib. Somewhere through the annals of time, it's been switched to a gold rib. So you can tie it either silver or gold. If you want the gold side out, you tie the silver side up, if that makes sense, because you turn it, and which brings the gold side up. So I'll tie it down, but I won't go all the way. I'll leave about a mil or two short of the last tie down spot on the tail. Okay, so now I'm going to go up And there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can either leave the thread attached and sort of struggle with the floss and the thread, or you can tie it off the thread. Start the floss at the head of the fly, a little ways back, not all the way up. Start the floss and you wind back, close turns, winding back, as smooth as you can. When you get to the tinsel, switch it over and take a turn of floss at the back. Okay. Come forward. What that does is lock the tinsel in. It's not going to slip off the back of the body. So now what you want to do is, if you can spin this, it'll spin. There we go. And the floss then starts to flatten out. Come up. Smooth turns. Okay. Attach the thread again. Floss and the thread are tied down at that. Okay. Floss up, snip it off. Tie down the tag end. Now then, when you go over and you cross, now I'm going to wind this up. Now I've got the gold out. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's better. 5 turns. The 6th turn I tie off. Snip that off, okay? Now then, groundhog. This is going to be hard to see, but if you confused, you can see me at the break. I'll try to clear it up. You all know that animals' hair grows from the head back, right? So a dog, a cat. Grows from the head down. I sometimes wish it would grow that way and hide the bald spot. Eh, Sheldon? Yeah, man.
In your case, Elliott, it's growing from the chin, not the head.
Yeah. So, what you want to do, like with deer hair, muskrat, groundhog, and everything, see how the hair lies, and start from this side or this end. It's pointless to try and cut hair from here because you're going against the grain. It's like tiles on a roof. Okay, so when they take tiles off, they just shovel them off, but we're not doing that. So you start at the peak and you work down. Okay, so now then, The nice thing with groundhog is you don't have to stack it. I love it for that one thing. You don't have to play around with the hair stacker. So if you put the point of your scissors in the fur and just stroke it up in a narrow line, don't go like down that way, go across and work down the skin in layers, like thin layers, about a millimeter or two. So then you can hold them up, all that hair up straight, and square up off the hide, snip the patch off, and all your tips are aligned. If you don't do that, it'll be the same as when you tried to pull a piece off a feather. You'll have all of the ends sloping. This way now it's all stacked for you. It's all square. Okay, so I want to take a little bit of the under fur out. So you're tying the guard hairs in, which have the creamy tip, and the under fur, which is the tan and the black. In fact, there's a piece there that I'll just take out. Now that has a few guard hairs in it, but it's mostly under fur. Okay, so let's clean out a lot of the crap. Now the wings should be extend. It could go as far as the tail. I usually don't. I tie it just a little short of the tail. Perhaps the bent end of the hook or a little bit past. So I have it to size, snip off the butts, square. Okay, got my thread, put that down, over, pull. There's the wing. Okay, so what you can do slope the butts a bit. I'll clean that up, let painter on. The hackle is a full hen ankle, and again you clean off all of the fluff on the base, peel that down, stroke it down, clip the point off the tip so that it looks like that. Okay. Concave side down, catch the thread in the notch. You bind the end down, tackle pliers. And each turn you wind, you pull the lower fibers, or the ones next to the shank, you pull them back. Hold the quill up and cross the thread over the back. Slip that off. Slightly hold them back a bit. No, I don't have my light, I don't have my own vise. I left it all at home, but can't see that clearly here, but I think that's more or less the head closed off. With finish, 4 or 5 turns in the loop. Pull the loop closed. There's your llama.